I think I want to put it back up. The only reason why I don't like putting it up like this is because, it'll yell. But, all right. Here we go. So, you guys, what's good? It's your boy Bz. All right, so we were sitting here and we were just enjoying our own company, and I had like this, I don't even know if it was epiphany, but I don't even know what it really was. But I realized, like, I make myself happy. Like, I realized, like, the way that I make myself happy, I know no one else could do that for me. And it's not saying like, oh, I don't need anybody else to brighten up my life. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying I am the one that already brightens up my own life. Like, and I realized that, like, a lot of people don't have that. Like, they don't have that, like, their own happiness, or they don't have their own, like, fulfillment. So they'll allow themselves to depend on certain things to kind of bring them that laughter, or bring them that loving feeling, or bring them that secure feeling, And I feel like we have to learn how to move through attaching ourselves to things that give us a feeling. Because when you really think about it, it's just literally like your sacral chakra craving a feeling, craving pleasure, right? But you have to find pleasure within yourself. Like, you have to find pleasure within your own life. You have to find pleasure within the things that you love to do. You can't just say, like, oh, I'm just gonna do this to, like, feel better. Like, sometimes it helps, but some stuff you're just doing it just so, like, you could suppress that feeling, or you're doing it just so you can, like, bypass the feeling. But there's no bypassing emotions. There's no bypassing the way you feel about things. It's about conquering it head on, or feeling it so that you know what that really feel like. So when you out of that, you can easily know, like, wow, like, this is not the same. Like, I feel 10 times better. I feel 10 times higher off life than I would feel high off the weed, or high off drugs, or drunk off the alcohol. Like, excuse me. But you get to a point where you realize, like, all of those things I was using to, like, help me feel better was only numbing a part of myself. Now I'm dependent to these things to bring me a feeling that I cannot give myself. So when you can't give yourself a feeling, now you see yourself diving in this hole to find things that fulfill you. And then each thing you find, it does not fulfill you. It does not bring you to this place of peace. If anything, it continuously takes you lower, because then you see someone else really living high off their own life, or high off their own energy of them being themselves, of them loving everything about themselves, or loving their own company, loving their own happiness that they have with themselves, loving their own humor that they have with themselves. It makes you like, damn, I can't reach that point. But this is my message here to tell you people that don't. You have to stop looking at it like you can't. And you got to start looking at it like, damn, if they could get to that point, I can too. But it's about the way you got your mind thinking. It's the way you got your head and your brain working. It's the way you let your body be attached to all these people, frequencies, energies, places. You got to let certain stuff go and be in your own company and be in your own presence for you to really feel the depthness of your own existence, to the point that you can even be happy that you're alive, that you can be even happy that you make yourself laugh, or that you find things to be funny in a certain way that other people don't find it to be funny, that you can move throughout your days with little things happening. Because right before I make this video, I remember I was sitting here and I was about to get ready to tell myself something I used to always just tell myself, be like, oh, y'all know how when it gets to, like, you kind of get bored feeling, but you don't really be bored. It just be like, you don't got nothing to do in the moment. So you'll say, I don't have nothing to do in the moment, so damn, I'm bored. But that's the thing, is like, but every moment that we're doing so in our lives, whether it be on our phones, we're walking outside, we're working, we have different things in our lives that do bring us some type of fulfillment when we're doing it. And that's what you got to focus your energy on. What brings you fulfillment? What brings you peace? What brings you clarity? Like, and when I say clarity, think about when you're in your head and you're stuck looking for answers, and you're in your head and you're stuck trying to understand something, right? And then you finally get to this point where you're like, you let go of the worry. Then you finally start living in that peace of having the understanding, because right when you let go, it's like, boom, the answers come. Right when you let go, it's like, boom, the clarity. You might get a dream. You might have a vision. You might just have an epiphany. You might just be sitting there and just have a realization, because you're allowing yourself not to be distracted by all these other things that would, like I said before, give you this temporary feeling to feel something. Now you're really going off the strength of you being in your own energy, you being in your own thoughts, you being like deeply in your own heart, is what I just heard. And just allowing yourself to be. And I feel like a lot of times we judge ourselves about who we're trying to be because of the societal view of like what point we should be at in our life, the societal view of how we should feel because we're not in certain positions. You know, we have to break free from the programming that we're supposed to just just lay down and settle for certain things. Like, we are at a point in time where we're realizing like you really can't change how your life go, but you got to be the factor. It comes to you. It can't be somebody. Yeah, other people can inspire you, but they can inspire you. But at what point do you take that inspiration and say, the inspiration that person had or gave, I want to really start implementing that. Until you start saying like you're ready to implement these changes, how can you expect yourself to shift from this low vibrational energy to this high vibrational energy? How do you expect yourself to go to 3D to 5D if you're allowing yourself to just settle with the 3D energies because it's comfortable, because you've only figured out how to numb the pain? Why would you want to live in a place where you only numb things? Why wouldn't you want to live in a place where you actually solve, you actually clear, you actually handle these things that you're going through to a degree to where it does not dampen who you are? It does not dampen your energy. It does not dampen your mood. If you might have a thought about it, but you already know to a certain level of frequency, I don't fear that that's going on anymore. I don't fear that I'm experiencing that. And then within me realizing those fears, it's like, well, damn, the fact that I did, it'll break out the fears that you still have tied to certain things. Even people. Why do you think it's something I saw something the other day, and it said something that was like realizing that I need my own space because I can't afford to be in a relationship I can't leave. Meaning, like, you know that you don't have nowhere else to go, so you'll stay in a relationship just to be like, well, this is my place to stay, but you're not happy, you're not content, you're not fulfilled, but it's a roof over your head, so you're gonna thug it through, right? But that's not really what your heart calling you to do. That's just what your ego feel like, well, that's what's comfortable, that's what's gonna fit it for now. And I get it. To a degree, I get it. But to another degree, that's still living out of fear. Because you have that fear of things not being figured out if you leave this person. Things not being figured out if you leave this situation. Things not being figured out if you abandon certain spaces. Or how people will feel if you abandon these certain spaces. How people will feel if you start speaking your truth and saying what you have to say. Now you start seeing yourself like, damn, I really am closing myself off because of these fears that are lowering where I could really be with myself. And I feel like I don't even have to say this because I feel like this is something that everybody knows, right? But I'm just speaking on it to bring it to y'all awareness again, to bring it to the forefront of your mind, not the back, the subconscious. We're getting out the subconscious now, because the subconscious was all that shit that was programmed within us, that was taught to us, that was pushed on us since we were kids. We're growing, at least with the group I'm talking to now, y'all are at that age where it's like teen finna go into young adult, or y'all are already in your 20s, and yeah. But we are at a point now where we are clearing our subconscious to a level that people are not going to understand. So yes, they don't understand why you're not attached to them anymore. Yes, they don't know why you're not giving the same energy. They don't know why you're so happy by yourself. They don't understand why you don't depend on them anymore. They don't even understand why you don't even give the same efforts as you used to before, because they're not seeing that you have elevated. They're not seeing that you're on another level. They're not seeing that you're in your own peace, that you're in your own happiness, that you're in your own fulfillment with yourself, not with these things that satisfy you over time. And even if, and let's put it like this, even if you do indulge in certain things over time, I'm not really getting that you indulge in it just for it to give you a feeling. I feel like that's just you having fun. You allowing yourself to have that fun over. So you think about like when you're being all serious all the time, or if you're being like strict on yourself about something, right? We all have those moments where I can live a little, I can enjoy myself. But we know when it gets to a point where you're overindulging or you're depending on the fun to bring a feeling or fulfillment. I'm sounding like a preacher right now, and I ain't no preacher. I'm just a channel that is going to display and speak what needs to be spoke to those that are willing to listen. So regardless if there's 2 people, 1 people, 0 people that watch this, at the end of the day, this message has to get out. And I feel content within myself. And I feel my throat chakra trying to stop, but I ain't going to stop. I feel completely content with myself that I got on here at about 2 o'clock and said what I had to say. I felt so called, so pulled in that moment that I was feeling my happiness, and realized and looked back at when I was not there and all the things that I was doing to keep myself in that stuck place, in the 3D energy, that lower energy. You know what I'm saying? That lower space. Now that I'm elevating because I chose to, because I allow myself to accept the change, heart chakra, big heart chakra, right? Love yourself enough to change. Loving yourself enough to accept that something is not what it is. Loving yourself to accept the reality of things. Loving yourself to accept who you are becoming and who you are not becoming. Or at least who you're not becoming anymore. Accepting yourself that you're not going to reach certain levels. Accepting yourself that you know you will reach certain levels. And when I say it like that, that's coming from the perspective accepting yourself that you won't reach and accepting yourself that you will. That's getting to a level where you are getting so deep within your own understanding of yourself to realize, like, I know myself enough to this degree to know that, like, there are certain things that I won't be able to handle. So me trying to push this is my shadow side trying to force me to say, like, yeah, I can. But then wholeheartedly, I know I can't. So I accept within myself and my heart, knowing that I can't do something, knowing that I'm not capable. But at the same time, the things that I am capable of, the things that I am accepting that I know I can. And I take that acceptance that I know I can, and I strongly use it and put it into my will, my power, which goes into your solar. You know, I don't know why I feel like we're working our way down from the crown all the way down, but maybe that's the thing right now. Maybe we're going through all this clearing. Like, and you gotta think, what's today? Literally, there's no coincidence that I'm making this video on the 23rd. There is no coincidence. And so I just want to say thank God, source, because to me God is source. So when I say source or God, it's the same thing for me. It don't change up, it don't switch. It's just a name, a reference. But at the end of the day, I know who the true source and the power is within me. And that's God. God is source. Source is God, the creator of all things. And I'm just so grateful that I can not be in fear anymore, and that I could really be in peace to speak these messages and say these things I have to say, regardless if there are people who don't get it, regardless if there's people who don't understand. I'm going to continue to live and do what I was sent here to do. And that was to utilize my voice to speak to people, to inspire people, to help people overcome these things that I had already been through. Many lifetimes. Not just this one. Many lifetimes. So understand that each and every day you wake up is another chance to create. Another chance to do. Another chance to evolve. And we are past the point where evolution has happened. Now we're at a point where it's on the people to make that choice on if they want to or if they don't. And if they don't, understand the consequences that come with the don't. But if you do, understand the success, understand the wins and the blessings that come with pushing yourself forward and making the changes. Pushing yourself forward and turning over that new leaf. Pushing yourself forward and allowing yourself to just be. Taking away all this societal things and programming and who you need to be, who you don't. Like, taking away it all so that you can start creating and living from the reality that is peace for you. not peace for them. So you see that? Because if it's peace for you, then you're doing the things that make you fulfilled, right? Versus being peace of others, or like depending on these other people to be like, it's kind of like the energy of like needing that approval to be good, or needing to hear like somebody say like, yes, that's what you need to be doing for you to do it. But and wholeheartedly, you already had a disconnection that you don't need to do it. But then you're letting your ego be pleased, or your shadow be pleased by hearing people say, oh yeah, you should, or no, you shouldn't. Because at what point, where's your self-validation? Where is the self-validation of a yes or a no? Where is the self-validation of I am and I am not? I will and I will not. We have to break free from, we got to break free from it, y'all. And it's just that time where we really got to like focus our energy really with where we want to go. If you want to be better in your life, if you want to have a successful life, if you want to be freaking happy, you have to choose to start doing it for yourself. And it's not just choosing, but you got to start doing that for yourself. The action, feminine and masculine. The feminine energy is you're going to always feel it. Heart chakra, your feminine energy, you're always going to feel what you need to do. The masculine is your action, so that your masculine energy is going to push you. It's going to push and do the things that your feminine energy is feeling called to do. The same way I have the balance now of being able to trust my intuition when I had that feeling of like, wow, you know what? Get on live. And then that masculine energy to go get the phone, pick it up, press the live thing, and start speaking from my soul. Now, if anybody watched this video, I don't know who made it to the end. I really don't care. If anybody watched this video and anytime you felt triggered by anything I said, please just let that be the confirmation that there is healing that you still have to do. Regardless if that's root chakra, sacral chakra, solar plexus, heart chakra, throat chakra, your third eye. I'm trying to do the finger over here. And your crown chakra. Whichever one it is. Stop fighting this resistance that you already feel with inside of yourself. And just trust. And just believe. That's the whole point of the Fool card. Taking that leap of faith off the edge of the cliff. Knowing that you're already protected. Knowing that you're already guided. Knowing that you're already in a place where the only thing that can stop you is you. The only thing that can stop you is your fears. The way you look at things. Why do you think when self-sabotaging comes up, right? It's because you're looking at yourself and you're telling yourself that you can't, or it's not time. But maybe it is time. Maybe you can, right? But that's because you're looking at you're letting that fear seep in and make those judgment calls when you need to really start trusting within your heart of like how you really feel. Do I feel ready? Do I really feel like I can? And then if I really, really don't feel like I can or I'm ready, I can accept that I'm not, right? And so I can say and be vocal and not front like I am ready, knowing wholeheartedly the whole time I'm not. And it's the vice versa. You know, like, it's the vice versa. And that's the point of the balance. Like, there's always going to be a flip. There's always going to be, it's always going to be this and then that. And it's always going to be that and then this. Like, there's always going to be a balance to some point. There's always going to be oppositions. But those oppositions or those opposing sides, because that's the whole point. When you're open, right? You can look at that other side and say like, oh, you know what? Like, it's like, even when you think about like religious beliefs and stuff, right? A lot of people are closed-minded when it comes to religion. Because if you really, I'm going to really break your ego with this one. If you really want to be real, religion is only just in place so that we feel safe and secure within, like, you know, everything that's going on in the world. And I learned that in 9th grade in a book where it literally said that, like, religion is just a system made up off of, like, beliefs that help people. Or something. I can't remember. But if I find it, I guarantee you, it basically was just saying how, like, the belief system is just in place to help people feel more comfortable living here. And it's like, and even in that innocence, like, makes you like, why do we need a belief system to feel comfortable living here? Why can't we just live, right, and experience life? Why can't we just live freely? And I get it, you know what I'm saying? The whole rules and regulations, when you look at all that stuff, like, I get it. Control has to be had for things to be maintained. But if there's too much control, then things are being run and maintained not in an orderly way, or at least not in a righteous way. God, I want to say I thank you again. I thank you for allowing me to be a channel. I thank you, God, for blessing me to have a voice, to be able to speak to people, to be able to help people understand their peace, helping people to understand what it feels like to experience peace, what it feels like to enjoy your peace, and what it just feels like to just be alive. Soul within a body, not body with a soul. All right, y'all. That's it. Goodbye.